What is up, Super Fam and Bro Vengers alike? I am Sensei Finito, aka Vane Sensei, and welcome to Marvel Bros, where we discuss all things Marvel and everything pop culture. And today we are going to be doing our watch party and review for Rogue One. Rogue One, baby. We have been watching Andor every week leading up to this, and I am just so excited to finally check out this movie again. I don't think I've seen this movie since I saw this movie, which is like when it first came out. I'm pretty sure I watched this movie when it first came out, and I have not seen it since then. So this is like my first rewatch, and I'm pretty pumped to have this rewatch as well, to be able to see all the things and just get into those Star Wars vibes. Leading up to this, actually, I had already watched Star Wars episodes 1 and 2 in preparation for the re-release of episode 3 in theaters for the anniversary. So I've watched Star Wars 1, 2 and 3 already, and then now we're going into Rogue One, and I think that's awesome. I mean, I think we're just going to fill in those gaps and continue the story from here on out as well. So I'm pretty pumped to get into the movie and just to get into the vibes and all that. But before we do that, we are going to check out the Andor finale breakdown from New Rockstars, just to kind of get some of those Easter eggs and some of those, just get those vibes going, and also to get a clear understanding of the book end of where we see Andor leave off, and then going into Rogue One. So I'm pretty hyped about this. I can't even pretend. I am so excited to check this out. I'm excited to check out the New Rockstars breakdown as well for Rogue One, because I have not seen it yet. I have not seen it yet, but I know that it is on and cracking, and it's probably going to be pretty good. It's about 40 minutes, so we're gonna start watching Rogue One around the same time that it would have dropped, that Andor would have dropped, right? So we're gonna get those vibes going. We're just gonna check out all the stuff that we need to know about the Andor finale, and then we'll go into that Rogue One movie, and it should be a good time. So I hope you guys are all pumped and all juiced, and I hope you enjoyed Andor as well, because I definitely enjoyed Andor quite a bit. So we're gonna be vibing out here shortly. So let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments down below. Let me see. Okay. Bam. Yo, what is up with it? My guy, how you doing, G? I see you. What's up with it? Derpy? My guy Derpy said, yo, what's up with it, Derpy Entertainment? How you doing, G? Hope you're having a good day today, bruv. Were you enjoying Andor? Cause damn, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this Rogue One movie. I'm ready to see all of it, yo. Like, I'm ready to see all of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so ready for this. Nah, I have not seen what you sent me, Derp. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But yeah, Andor is crazy. I know they also did the Star Wars, what is it called? Tales from the Underworld. I still need to check that out as well. I haven't watched Tales of the Underworld just yet, but I am. It's on my list. It's one of the many things on my list for sure. Like, for sure, for sure. If you haven't already, by the way, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. It definitely helps out tremendously around these parts. You can also follow me on social media at Sensei Finito to stay up to date with all my thoughts, theories, and opinions on whatever particular thing I may be partaking in. And then you can also follow the channel at Marvel Bros on all platforms to stay up to date with all things Marvel and everything pop culture. Didn't watch Andor season 2. Don't own Disney Plus. Oh yeah, I feel that, brother. I feel you that. I feel you there. I feel you there. Sent you something on Discord for sure, Derp. Rogue One is goated though. Is your first time? No, I saw Rogue One when it released years ago, but I have not watched it again since since that first watch. I think when it first came on digital or whatever it was at the time, that was my first time seeing it. I don't think I saw this in theater. Did I see this in theaters? I really can't remember if I saw. Wait, no, I can't. I don't. Did I? I think I did see this movie in theaters, actually. I'm pretty sure I've seen almost all the Star Wars movies, like all the more recent Star Wars movies in theaters, except for like Solo Story. Um, Enjoyed season 2 a lot more than season 1. Yo, what's up with the Senate? I appreciate that. Yo, I agree with that. I meant to say, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I enjoyed season 1 quite a bit But I freaking love season 2. And I did see some quarrels online with like how we're not able to sit with some of those moments or let these characters like really breathe for from going from one point to the next. But I really enjoy it. I think it's real I think it's awesome, bro. There was something it was similar to like this most recent episode of The Last of Us, right? We saw Joel basically going to Ellie like on her birthday throughout the span of like 5 years. And every time a year passed, it was her birthday. And we were just kind of, exploring how different these characters were from year to year. And also in this show, for the season 2, it was really dope the way it was just like, okay, this is what's happening in this time block. And then a year from now, this is what's happening here. And a year from now, this is what's happening here. And it's like, yo, it's all building up, and you can clearly see the tension. And even though we weren't there for a lot of those moments that built tension, we were somehow still able to feel the tension that was there. So that's one thing that I really enjoyed about Andor, and the fact that it's all kind of leading up to Rogue One. And during the our watch party and review for the finale, I was drawing a huge blank as to what was going on in Rogue One, and the main reason is because I for some reason I don't really rewatch Star Wars projects, and I just made that realization this year is that I don't really rewatch outside of Clone Wars and Rebels, because I have rewatched both of those 2 or 3 times. But like with the movies, I've never even thought about rewatching them in that way. Uh, but I think it's something that I'm gonna do more is just keep rewatching those movies and getting acclimated into the universe a little bit more. Even though I feel like I know quite a bit, I don't know nearly as much as some of the other nerds out there. Like my boy Darth Chaco. Shout out to Darth Chaco, yo, for real, for real. Bro is yeah, bro is a super nerd when it comes to Star Wars, which I envy. I envy being the super nerd for real, about Star Wars, seeing a ship and knowing what it's called immediately, like that level of nerdism. I love it for real. Like it's really awesome. It was faster and more intense, felt more like Star Wars. It did feel more like Star Wars. I agree with you. It felt more like Star Wars in every way possible. In the first season, there was probably like the number of aliens that we could see, we could count on like one hand. Literally, there was like 5 different aliens in that first season. But going into this season, it felt a lot more Star Warsy. It just felt like the first season there was an abundance of humans, which isn't a bad thing, and it does make sense in a huge galaxy that there would be, kind of just some humans somewhere. And I'm pretty sure the Empire doesn't really like aliens. Like, I'm pretty sure they're kind of racist in that way, or speciest, if it is. I think that's the word, speciest. That's why you don't really see any aliens working with the Empire or anything like that, because they are very specious. Like, they're like, bruh, nah. But even stuff like that is probably explored in the canon somewhere in some type of book that I would love to read. Bro, like I think it would be super dope. Derp said the message I sent is about Netflix Avatar adaptation. Basically, it's a video of them wrapping season 2, and season 3 is now in production, plus the new cast members of season 3 picture. Oh yeah, I think I saw that. I think I saw some of that. I think I saw some of that, Derp. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to fully check that out though. Yo, crazy side note, and I hate to throw this as a side note, but did you guys see that the Skibbity Toilet movie is now in the works with freaking Michael Bay as the director? I can't even believe that sentence I just said, but yeah, it's true. Skibbity Toilet on the way to a theater near you, I think. That's yeah, that's pretty insane. Got to watch them multiple times before you catch things you didn't before. I agree with you so much. I agree with you so much. That's a good point, Senate. For real, I do agree with that. That's a really good point, and that's something that I realized even when rewatching Clone Wars. As an adult, I don't believe that I have watched any of the Star Wars movies like that. Like, and I really haven't. So, um, it was crazy to see that. And I also did go back to the theater when they did the anniversary for, what was it, episode 4, I think, in theaters, and I watched that in theater, and that was freaking awesome. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed that as well. Yo, Derp, I forgot all about to them. Let me actually put that in the calendar, bro. Thank you for reminding me, broski. Yeah, yo, but I think like when I went back and watched Star Wars again as a full grown man as I am now, you feel me? It was like I was like, damn, bro. Like there's so many things that are in there that I really enjoy. I also enjoyed seeing pod racers again in Andor after just watching the prequel trilogy. I was like, this is freaking dope, bro. Like I need to see some more of this type of stuff. You feel me? Like I need more. Um, so I like that, yo. I like Star Wars so much, and I'm really excited about the direction I think we're going to be headed. You know, like I think it's gonna be a really dope. I think it's gonna be really dope for real. I do, and I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm really excited about Star Wars. I'm excited about the Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm excited about the other prequel project that I think they just announced with James Mangold. Is that right? I might have said that wrong. I just really feel like Star Wars is about to go insane. Like I think Star Wars is really about to go insane. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is the first movie that we're gonna have that's not centered around Jet. Well, it's probably still gonna be centered around Jedi somehow. Well, but you know, it's gonna be the first movie that we have in a very long time, and it's not gonna be centered around the Jedi. So that's super interesting. You know, that's super interesting, and it's gonna be post. I always forget where Mandalorian is. God damn it! So forgive me, because I was about to say something that I think is wrong, but I'm pretty sure Mandalorian is post like episode 4, 5, and 6, right? The original trilogy. Yeah, it's after the original trilogy and before the sequel trilogy. Star Wars is hard because I know because Luke is like in it, obviously young. We got Ahsoka in it as an OG. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot there, bro. The Star Wars universe is just so rich when it comes to lore and world building. So that's something that I think there's an abundance of. There's an abundance of it, and I want to jump in. I want to jump in for real. I need that visual Star Wars timeline. You know what I mean? Star Wars timeline. Isn't there a full website with all this going on? Actually, this looks pretty spot on to what I'm looking for right here. I'm pretty sure this is looking pretty spot on right here. But yeah, so the Mandalorians right here. We have Empire Strikes Back, right? Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and then The Mandalorian, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of Skywalker. I haven't watched Star Wars Resistance either. And I don't know what the hell Galaxy's Edge is. I don't even know what that is. I don't think I've heard of that. And then I know on the other end of this would be like Acolyte and stuff like that. Is Bad Batch on here? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Cassian Andor, Solo. Nope. Okay, so this isn't even the full thing that I'm looking for still. I want a picture like this, but the full Star Wars timeline. Oh, I guess kind of like this. Oh yeah, this is looking pretty good too, chat. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. F11. There we go. Yeah, so we got Acolyte, Menace, Attack of the Clones, Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, Andor, Rebels, Kenobi, Solo, Bad Batch, Rogue One. Damn, all of those happened before Rogue One? That's insane. That's actually insane. Star Wars A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, The Mandalorian, Star Wars Resistance, which I think is a kids show, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker. 23 projects. That's not bad. That's not bad, honestly. A few years back, after Clone Wars put out the final season, I went back and watched everything Star Wars in chronological order from Phantom Menace to Rise of Skywalker. I'm planning on doing it again. That sounds freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds super dope. I would love to do something like that. I probably will do something like that. I feel like it's gonna be dope today to watch Rogue One to get that full story of Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor. Now with Acolyte, Bad Batch, Andor, and the newer shows like that, yeah, that timeline. Oh, okay. Can we do crossover for To Dumb and cover it together? I'm not sure about that, Derpy. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not gonna give a definitive to that just yet. Resistance ties in directly with Force Awakens. Oh, word? That's crazy. I had no idea. That sounds awesome though. What? It does? That's insane. Bro, that's what I be talking about too. Star Wars is just it's such a massive universe with everything interconnected. I like that there's not like too much. I like that there's not big crossover events because the big crossover event has already happened. You know what I mean? I think that's something that's really cool about Star Wars is since the big event has already happened with no crossover, they're able to do all this other shit in the past and build up to it still. Because it's like, yeah, of course, it's like to everyone else that was watching before, it just seemed like, oh, these are the perfect circumstances. But it's like, no. People died to make this happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like, oh, the chosen one just so happened to be the chosen one. Like, no, he is the chosen one, but also all of these people risked their lives time and time again in order to get to this point, which I think is freaking dope, bro. Like, I do. I really appreciate that. I think they do a solid job. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's get cracking with the new Rockstars breakdown of Andor season 1, and then we'll get into our watch party for Rogue One. All right. Let's get it on.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of the final 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor, Season 2, Episodes 10, 11, and 12. Filled with tension, despair, hope, and gut punches, we must break down this finale scene by scene for the Star Wars Easter eggs and connections, details you missed, and the deeper layers of meaning. And be sure to check out nerdriot.shop, because if K2SO was the one thing to cheer you up from this finale, we got you covered with a K2SO rescued shirt, as well as a
insane.
Palpatine Master of Puppets design. Grabbing one of these is the best way to support us here at New Rockstars. All right, the final 3 episodes open again with a 1 year later tag and the Ferrix Anvil gong. We are now in 1 BBY, the final stretch before the critical events of Rogue One that lead into A New Hope. There's been some confusion over whether Rogue One's events are in 1 BBY or 0 BBY, since they are all roughly within the same few weeks of the Battle of Yavin, but the official Star Wars Timelines book from 2023 said that Rogue One, and thus these final 3 episodes of Andor, are all in 1 BBY, leaving A New Hope alone in 0 BBY. So, you know, whatever. We open on this light flashing on the fractal radio drawer in the back of the antique shop operated by Luthen and Clea. In this opening frame, they were sure to include one of the Temple of Doom Sankara stones that they included in season 1 as a Lucasfilm Easter egg. Later, Luthen will claim there are 2 things in the shop known to be forgeries, and I think it's at least 2, because we got those stones plus Indiana Jones' whip and carbonite, and those Lothal Jedi Temple tablets from Rebels that should not be in the shop. And for any of you doubters saying that those are the same tablets, we got a close-up of them this way with the hands exactly the same. They wanted it to be an Easter egg, but it can't be Ezra's tablets.
Well, anyway, I mean, to be fair, they're not in the correct order. Duh. I mean, that's pretty easy. I think that's a pretty easy thing to see, yeah? Like, you know, because on the thing they're like this, but here they're like this. I think it's pretty clear they're not the same, you know? You know, it can't be
exactly the same. They wanted it to be an Easter egg, but it can't be Ezra's tablets. Anyway, blinking lights in quiet Coruscant rooms will prove critical in this final arc. We'll later learn that Luthen, Clea, and Lonnie called this special communication ping the Big Bell, a one-time break the glass emergency line that Lonnie could use when the jig is up. And I like how the Big Bell kind of reflects the opening sound of the Ferrix Anvil gong, as thematically they're serving a similar purpose. And that purpose is now is the time to act. Clea arms herself with a blaster. One of the pistols she doesn't take was a DL-44, the same model Han and Luke both used in the original trilogy. Luthen places on his costume rings and wig one last time and plans to meet Clea at the old steps.
Promise me if it doesn't look perfect, you won't engage.
I think we used up all the perfect.
I love this line because it's Luthen's way of saying that they only got so many lucky breaks, but also that his life with his daughter figure, Clea, up until this point has been the closest thing to perfect he can imagine. The way Clea looks back at him on this line, she's never looked more like just a little girl looking up at a dad. They meet, and Lonnie mourns Luthen that Dedra Meero has put together a tactical team for a Coruscant operation, something that she probably would only do if she found access. Lonnie says he's been burned, that they're onto him after he used Dedra's code cert to read her private files, meaning Lonnie went beyond what Luthen ever told him to do. Like, Lonnie worried that Luthen would tell him to do it if he told him that he had this access, but he never did tell Luthen that. Lonnie acted on his own. Had Lonnie not done this, they would have never gotten this critical contextual information that they needed for their operation in Rogue One. So Luthen's big speech to Lonnie back in season 1 about how he burned his life must have stirred something in this guy, because now he has burned his own life. Lonnie doesn't expect to make it out alive himself. He just wants to secure the safety of his wife and daughter. Lonnie spills the beans that the Emperor's energy program is a lie. Gorman was a front to strip mine the planet for the calcite mineral that they're going to use to create reactor lenses, and that the Jedha occupation isn't about looking for partisans, but rather to get the Kyber crystals. In Rogue One, we'll see how Saw Gerrera's group, the Partisans, fight Imperial forces on Jedha, a planet with an ancient connection to the Jedi Order that, like the planet Ilum, has natural Kyber crystals that, in addition to powering lightsabers, power the Death Star super laser. Scarif is where the Death Star is currently being completed, so this tells us that the rebels knew something was happening on Scarif, but we know that Scarif also came up in ISB briefings in season 1 where Lonnie Young attended, and we later find out that Legrette's brother is stationed on Scarif, and they kind of found out about it that way. But before Lonnie goes further, he demands to know where his family will go, and Luthen thinks for a moment before saying Yavin, which Lonnie doesn't even know is a planet. So from this line, we can assume that Luthen isn't gonna let this guy walk away. Lonnie Young is revealed to be dead as the dude walking his Tuca has it run over to Lonnie's corpse and meow and sniff. Tucas are the feline creatures of Star Wars, one of their variants being the Lothcats of Lothal. And if you look closely, this Tuca's collar reads Pix, P-I-X, named after a recently deceased dog of one of the VFX artists. After everything Lonnie Young did, it's sad to see him in this way, knowing his wife and kid are somewhere waiting for him. He won't be the only link in this chain whose woman and child are left looking at a sunrise that he will never see. Clea quickly repeats back the important names and details.
Gorman, Scarif, Kyber, Krennic, Urso.
Galen Urso, Galen.
Engineer Galen Urso. Superweapon based in Scarif, fuel from Gorman.
Engineer Galen Urso was the key detail that Lonnie added off screen. Mads Mikkelsen's character from Rogue One, father to Jyn Urso, the scientist whom Orson Krennic forced to work for Project Stardust, who discovered that Kyber crystals could be used for the Death Star super laser. The information that Cassian gets from Tivik at the start of the Rogue One film on the Rings of Kafrene from Imperial defector Bodhi Rook, Riz Ahmed's character, was that the Empire was building a planet killer using the Kyber crystals, and that Urso was part of the project. And we now see why and how Cassian at the beginning of that movie knew the name Galen Urso to begin with. This is how Cassian first gets that name, so that Tivik's tip from Bodhi's leak doesn't get dismissed as yet another theory. They needed this information to come from 2 different independent sources so that they could act on it. And of course, the name Galen Urso will be what leads them to find Jyn Urso, his daughter, who will be critical to learning how the project's name is called Stardust when they steal the plans from Scarif, because, you know, Stardust was like his nickname for her. Really, this entire arc is like an extended Rogue One Tantive 4 killbox sequence, a chain of rebels passing off critical Death Star related information, one to the next, as the Empire slowly marches toward to kill them, just as they transfer that information with the last bit of life in their bodies. Now we see how that sacrificial chain extended even further back, starting with Lonnie Young and Dedra Meero, and whoever the mystery email forwarder was. The burn Luthen talked about before was melting all of the links of their fractal radio switchboard to the various rebel cells that Luthen and Clea had built in their network. We see a close-up of that acid oozing across the nodes, and it kind of reflects the way Partagaz calls this insurrection a disease, something he cannot stop from spreading. The doorbell rings and it's Dedra Meero alone. Both engage in a little dance despite knowing how this will end.
Is everything real?
At the moment,
Only 2 pieces of questionable provenance in the gallery. Any guesses?
Haha, love the wordplay here because the 2 of them are the 2 pieces of questionable authenticity in this room right now. Luthen shows Dedra a Nautolan bleeder. So Nautolans are the amphibious species of Jedi Master Kit Fisto, one of the Jedi who tried to arrest Palpatine, who was immediately oofed. So that kind of makes Kit Fisto also a Nautolan bleeder. So this ceremonial dagger plus the Keldor mask that was moved to the back this episode since Clea passed it earlier. If that mask was Plo Koon's mask, that would make 2 possible belongings of Jedi Masters who were killed during Revenge of the Sith. Dedra takes out her stunning item, the weathered Imperial Starpath unit. This is a navigation tool that Cassian stole from Steerguard before the events of the series that he tried to sell to Luthen Rael, but when Cyril's group tried to arrest Cassian, that unit was left at the scene and recovered by the Empire, which caught Dedra Miro's attention. So she's always held on to this as like kind of a relic, waiting for this day to happen. And just by showing Luthen this, she proves that she knows he was the other man on barracks that day, the Axis she's been looking for, been dreaming of. So how did Dedra find Luthen? Well, in the next episode, episode 11, she tells Krennic that a partisan spy was outed on Jedha, who confessed under torture that he was recruited by a man with a Fondor Hallcraft full of antiquities, which she found in the intel that was accidentally forwarded to her. That info led her to Luthen. But the series does leave the question, who forwarded this file to Dedra Miro? Was it someone who did it on purpose?
Damn.
Some other mystery figure in the Imperial ranks who wanted someone else to get this information? Or is it the case, and I hope this is the case, that the Empire truly was brought down by a mistakenly forwarded email? Wouldn't that be just perfect? Now Luthen and Dedra drop the facade. Dedra says he disgusts her, and he says it's because he wants freedom, and she says he just wants chaos. But he says the rebellion is everywhere now.
There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you.
Dedra sees the smoking fractal
line.
radio, and Luthen cuts himself.
Turn around or be stunned.
Remember, Dedra earlier worried that her item wouldn't be stunning enough, and now it's Luthen's final stroke that leaves her stunned. And I love this because it also proves that since this Nautolan bleeder supposedly was used for ceremonial sacrifices, it is now clearly sharp enough, meaning that it was a real authentic piece. Also, had Dedra just raided the shop with her tactical team, she probably would have salvaged more of the switchboard and captured Luthen alive, but because she had to gloat with her big routine, her big win was foiled. And the moment she realizes what Luthen has done, she realizes she is so now there's no big prize to justify her overstepping. The Imperial CSI team sweeps the crime scene, and we see how they're scanning that Lothal tablet, same as we, the viewers, do when we're trying to determine if this actually was Ezra Bridger's tablet from Rebels. Clea remembers the day she met Luthen during some past conflict. Now, it doesn't specify when or where this is, but assuming the Empire is only 18 years old since the Purge started on 19 BBY, I'm thinking this would have been a Clone Wars conflict, unless, like with Dedra's Imperial Kindergarten line, Tony Gilroy might have just forgotten that the Empire started in 19 BBY and forgotten that we've only been about 14 or 18 years after that, and Dedra and Clea seem to be in their 30s. Now, according to the show's production, the uniforms are meant to be Mud Trooper uniforms, Imperial Mud Trooper uniforms, the Imperial uniforms worn by Han Solo in Solo: A Star Wars Story, a movie that was set in 10 BBY, 5 years before Andor started and 9 years before the present day of Andor. And I just think everyone working on this show, really everyone at Lucasfilm, is kind of pretending like the Imperial era lasted like 50 years, when in reality, it went from 19 BBY to 4 ABY, so like 23 years. But we see a de-aged Stellan Skarsgård as Sergeant Lear, overseeing a group of soldiers killing civilians in cabins. But if his name was Sergeant Lear, he would have just rearranged the letters of L-E-A-R to get Real. And there's probably a connection to Shakespeare's King Lear, the tragedy of the king who couldn't trust his daughters and had to be blinded in order to gain the proper vision to respect his daughter. The name Lear in that play was even wordplay by Shakespeare on the word leer, as in to gaze at. And by transforming that to Real, Luthen made himself a real person, something of authentic value, like one of the truly valuable antiquities in his shop. He says, make it stop with regards to the screams of the women and children, recalling for me Bix being tortured with the sounds of the Dyzonite children's screams. And he repeats the phrase Rosh ni Lutz, which I assume is make it stop in whatever his native Star Wars language is. Sergeant Lear finds young Clea, one of the refugees of this war crime, hiding on a ship. And so we learn his defection from military service, and his whole life from here forward was all inspired by his heart melting upon seeing this girl. And so Clea, now as an adult, feels responsible to not let this man be tortured on her behalf. She finds the hospital, and the Orbesh on the building translates to this hospital being named after Lena So. Ha! Lena So was the Supreme Chancellor during the relatively recently released High Republic books. She presided over the period of history when the Great Hyperspace Disaster happened hundreds of years prior to now. So that means Coruscant named a hospital after this historical leader who would have gotten some historical credit for the relief and recovery efforts after that disaster. The jailbreak puck that Clea uses employs the same kind of practical rotary gears as what we see in the original design of the Scomp Link that R2-D2 uses on the Death Star. We instinctively just know this is what it looks like in Star Wars when a lock is picked. Clea wears some stolen nurse scrubs, which have a canary yellow design that both recalls the High Republic gold tones of the era of the person this hospital was named after, and just has a pleasant pastel with a Y-shaped collar that just gives off a nice bedside manner. She passes a patient in a Bacta tank, the healing tanks that we've seen throughout Star Wars since Empire. This patient could be a Saurian.
That's crazy. There's definitely some reaches there.
Do look more like a Quarren, but I was like, would a Quarren need a breathing mask in a Bacta tank? We also see a patient in a medical gown where the tail pokes out of the butt flap, which I just love. Clea pushes an elderly patient who's very confused and very sweet. There's some debate among our team over whether this patient could be a very, very old Asogian, the species of ET, which thanks to a cameo in The Phantom Menace in the Senate is technically Star Wars canon. I don't think it is because the shape of the head is different and I'm not seeing the length on the neck or the fingers. But we have seen this species before though. Some other golden girls of this species were sunbathing on a bench on Niamos when Cassian walked past them in season 1. But I still love everything this patient does, from her confused grunts to playfully kicking her legs later. On that last one, the captions read Granny scatting.
Yeah,
there's also an astromech droid behind her projected a 3D scan of the human brain, but the scatting and the music of all this, like I might be wrong, but the elevator music might have been the Niamos theme of the series, but just like a gentle elevator music version of it. Noah also pointed out that the scatting kind of sounds like the Cantina song. Is she going like It's also kind of like the Star Wars Episode 1 racer game menu where you can hear Watto scatting the Cantina song. If you know, you know. Clea flashes back to another memory of the first year that she and Luthen were moving as nomads and beginning to build this collection of antiquities by trading up stuff that they probably stole. They already have this routine where Clea plays the bad cop with the pawnbroker, refusing to even take a higher offer for a smile, and mentioning a thief back by the gate who gave a higher offer. I assume Zuli, or rather Suli, might have been who they swindled this artifact from. And Clea asks,
am I your daughter now?
What is she used for?
I have to think about that.
Even now, negotiating with Luthen in this transaction of their relationship. Luthen says that they're now confined to living under aliases.
I'll have to think about that.
Won't always be up to us. I'm Luthen now, you're Clea.
A second flashback shows Luthen and Clea slightly older and less scraggly, now pawning what Luthen calls a Deveronian victory necklace. Deveronians are the devil-looking species that first appeared in the 1977 film in the Cantina. We're now in the Imperial era for sure, as we learn a trooper was killed by a sniper, and they keep finding people who did it. Oh man, Clea sees among the innocent citizens a child, and all of them are executed in a stormtrooper firing squad. This Hilltown marketplace was shot at, I might be mispronouncing this, Jativa Castle, a medieval stronghold located 1 hour south of Valencia, Spain. This place looks awesome. I want to visit. Luthen explains to Clea that by walking away, they are winning the long game, but it requires them to lose and lose and lose until they're ready.
All you know now is how much you hate. You bank that, you hide that, you keep it alive until you know what to do with it.
And I love how this scene ends with Luthen saying, when I tell you to move, move. And Clea obediently, Simon says this, freezing until Luthen barks, move! Now, back in the present for a moment, it looks like Clea is gonna detonate a bomb on the entire hospital floor like Walter freaking White, but we flash back to another memory, the bougiest outing yet for these two, showing how they really have traded up to the 1%. This planet is Naboo. They shot this scene at the same Hever Castle in the district of Kent, England, where in 1997, George Lucas shot a scene for The Phantom Menace that would ultimately be removed from the theatrical cut, where Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Jar Jar enter the Theed Royal Palace grounds after escaping the waterfall. Pretty ballsy for Luthen to make make this kind of terroristic move on Palpatine's home world. But maybe that was the point. Leia has ice cream with berries and blue purlines. Like many pastries and desserts we've seen in Star Wars.
See,
like
now
the
that's a
cookies
good
Grogu eats
find.
are
That's what I'm
blue because
talking
the
about.
butter
Stick to
used
that
to make
Star
them
Wars,
is churned
baby,
from
'cause
blue
that's
bantha milk. Remember, we saw
crazy.
Clea eating blue butter or blue cream cheese on her toast in a past episode. Luthen demonstrates the cost and the weight of being an actual terrorist, counting the Imperials on the bridge and taking in the peace and the calm of the people around her that they're about to disrupt, including a little boy talking to his parents. She always notices the kids because she's a kid. Luthen explains how most people ignore the realities of fascism all around them, but Clea must feel the weight of the choice and know that it's a choice. Luthen didn't tell her whether today's test was real or not because he's afraid of burning her humanity out of her. So at the last second, he hits the button.
Look at me.
A little practical tip. A normal person would not be looking at the troopers before the bomb went off. They would turn to look at them after the explosion. Where you are looking is how you identify yourself. Clea applies that with the hospital security cameras later, looking not at the camera, but just naturally away. That makes her harder to identify.
It's like she's turning away.
So Clea detonates the Imperial transports, creating a diversion, and we follow her in a single shot as she uses her pistol to blast a stormtrooper and then the final guard. And Clea finds Luthen on a respirator and detaches it. The tube gives off a little steam, reminding me of the Rito fumes that Saw Gerrera likened with the soul of his sister Steela. We're seeing the kind of combustible fumes of Luthen's rebel soul leaving his body and spreading everywhere. This episode opened with a blinking light on a console, and that's how we end this episode, with the third of 3 lights on Luthen's gurney blinking to indicate a flat line. We often like to think of the giants of our world going out in a blaze of glory, living up to Dylan Thomas's poem to rage against the dying of the light. But the truth is, that's not how it ends for most of us. For most of us, it ends in a quiet hospital room just like this, with the soft beeping of instruments as the shell of a loved one we hardly recognize gives one final breath and fades away. On to episode 11. We open
That was
on the
hauntingly
Stormtrooper playing a shot
beautiful.
on the 19th floor, as Hirt tells Joy Dani that these were the people Dedra Miro put in charge. Hirt assumes that there must have been 3 operatives, showing how he completely underestimates a single lifelong rebel's skill set. Dedra Miro is in ISB custody. Krennic switches off the recording feed because he's about to talk to Dedra about stuff he does not want on the record anywhere. Krennic asks Dedra what single thing could bring him to this godforsaken basement.
Say it. Say the word.
Death Star.
Dedra knows it not just by the project's internal codename of Stardust, but how they plan to market this battle station to scare the planets. Death Star. Dedra mentions Logret's brother stationed on Scarif who made comments, and that's probably where she heard that part of it. But Krennic questions Dedra about Lonnie Young.
When did you give him your code cert?
Excuse me? Young. My clearances never.
The way Denise Goff says Young is just so catty, and I love it. While Dedra is right to be defensive about any collusion with Young, Krennic catches her on how the name Galen Erso was in her files to begin with. And here's where she messed up. She was forwarded intel by mistake, and she never reported it because she wanted to snoop through it herself to bypass Imperial compartmentalization in order to find Axis. So that means Dedra had Gorman mining schedules, orbital progress assessments, presumably the Death Star's orbital super laser, Eadu research journals, just another reference to the Eadu lab where Galen Erso works, and 2 years of Jedi work group printouts. This was the torture report of the Jedi person embedded as the Moff valet whose confession Dedra used to find Luthen. Krennic says,
Supervisor Young spent 3 hours last night logged into your account.
and the way he jabs his finger down on her head feels like a pantomime of how he wants to use the Death Star on planets. Krennic rages at Dedra that she confronted Luthen alone, rightfully shaming her for letting her ego get the best of her. And Krennic grabs Dedra's head and kind of chokes her, a similar gesture that Cyril used on her on Gorman. And by the end of Rogue One, we're gonna see this dude get force choked. So it's just kind of like everyone in the Empire is doing this to each other, and it's kind of like, yeah, it sucks. Look, if you've made it this far into the video, we know you're a diehard fan, and if you're a collector, you know all too well how good it feels to add a the Empire. Clea digs out of the safe house an old radio device that functions on a kind of Morse code, later referred to as pulse code by Dedra. Dedra tells here that they found an old radio on Ferrix matching one owned by Anto Krieger. So remember, Anto Krieger was the neo-separatist who planned a raid on Spellhouse that the ISB knew was coming, which Lonnie Young warned Luthen about, but Luthen chose to let the Empire catch Anto Krieger in order to keep Lonnie Young in place. We transition to the Avon 4 base, where more X-Wings are parked on the strip, including at least one from the Blue Squadron. By 1BBY BBY, the rebels had evacuated Dantooine and shifted their operations to Yavin 4. Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO play a gambling game that seems to operate by the rules of liar's dice, where there are some tiles visible to all players on the table and some tiles kept private in your hand, and you up the bid based on how many 5s or how many 10s or whatever there are collectively. Luthen actor Stellan Skarsgård played liar's dice in his past Disney role, Bootstrap Bill, against his son Will Turner and Davy Jones and Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Now, the show's production confirmed this game is called Rianza, inspired by ancient mahjong sets and dominoes. The tiles were designed by graphic designer Al McKee, who crafted a full set of rules to play this game. Cassian and Melshi drink Red Dog, that's the
What's
booze,
it called?
who crafted a full set of sets and dominoes.
Rianza.
The tiles were designed by graphic designer Al McKee, who crafted a full set of rules to play this game. Cassian and Melshi drink Revnog, that's the boozy drink that the Preox Morlana guards ordered in the first episode of Andor. K2SO says that they played 863 games. So a calendar year in Star Wars is equal to an Earth calendar year. So that means they have played this game at least twice a day, every day, since they switched over K2SO's programming. Krennic orders that Hirt blast Clea's mugshot as far and wide until she's found. This will later bite them in the ass, since because so many Imperial forces are consumed with this manhunt, backup forces to the apartment complex are slow to come. Now, Krennic doesn't want murder to be listed as a charge because that would mean they'd have to report a body and thus admit that Luthen Rael was Axis, and huge details about Project Stardust leaked. So instead, Partagaz suggests a different reason for the search.
She's diseased. She escaped the hospital with an infectious condition that threatens everyone with whom she may come in contact.
I love this. It recalls Partagaz's big speech back in season 1.
We are health care providers. We treat sickness. We identify symptoms. The longer we wait to identify a disorder, the harder it is to treat the disease.
So in Partagaz's worldview, the rebellion is a kind of infectious disease that must be eradicated. Yes, this is a practical explanation that wouldn't publicly martyr Clea to any rebel sympathizers who might be out there helping her escape, and it would encourage people to keep away and be like, leper, gross! But yes, it shows how Partagaz has a sincere disgust with the spread of rebel ideology. Clea's pulse code comes through again, and Cassian and Melshi rush off to their U-wing, filing no flight plan so that no one will know where they are going, because they can't trust Draven and the rebel leadership, because the rebel leaders would probably let all of them burn if it meant keeping anyone from tracking them back to Yavin 4. K2SO says,
I've been counting the orders we've disobeyed so far. Would you like to know how many?
No.
17.
It kind of feels like a version of Never Tell Me the Odds. Draven grills Willman in the Masasi Temple Strategy Center. We saw the set back in the 1977 film where General Dodonna and Leia and 3PO monitored the Battle of Yavin, and they rebuilt that set for Rogue One and brought it back here. The ISB tech is impressed with how Luthen and Clea's fractal radio spliced into an Imperial broadcast tower to avoid suspicion of energy charges and frequencies going in and out of this antique shop. And I love this because, as Luthen said in season 1, I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemies to defeat them. Melshi marvels at the sight of Coruscant's planet-wide cityscape, and K2SO brags that he was in a parade on Coruscant with 200 KX units.
The Emperor was there.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I'm sure Cassian would have loved to have been within a sniper range of the Emperor, but also Cassian does not know that the Emperor is also a Sith Lord, and Cassian barely believes the Force is even a real thing.
Oh,
anyway,
yo,
since the transmitter
I'm telling you, I literally always forget the perspective of just normal people in Star Wars, yo. Like, legit, I always forget, because what in the world? Like, when you really think about it, of course no one else knew that the Emperor was a Sith. You know, no one knew that. Everyone just knew Darth Vader was out here, for at least for the most part, right? Like, yo, that's insane. Wow. Everybody probably was just like, yo, the Emperor has this crazy guard dog, yo, and he's a freaking Sith Lord. Damn. That's wild.
So radio still works. When Clea sends pulse codes to Cassian, Hirt's team detects it, and from here, the tension is palpable. We see every piece of hardware being used by the tactical team, their blasters, their armor, and the tech walking Partagaz through all of their comms. So we feel like Cassian and Melshi are just outmatched in every way, and unsuspecting of the heat coming in. Like, we know Cassian will escape all of this, but we are terrified watching the final minutes of this episode. Hirt traces the source of the radio, and the TAC team leader, Garial, says that they'll they'll work their way up from floors 26, 27, and 28. So we know the rebel apartment is on floor 27, so they're gonna have a little time, but not much. Therefore, every word, every stutter, the speed at which Clea tells these details to Cassian, and how judgy Cassian is being of Clea's demeanor just because she's not Luthen, and the squabbling over whether to relocate to Yavin just becomes agonizing to the viewer because we are counting the seconds. We're screaming at our TV, move, move.
Like, yo,
This
y'all gotta get the
ISB
hell up
SWAT
out of here.
ship was a design riff on the classic Lambda-class Imperial shuttle first seen in Return of the Jedi. Now, because K2SO is initially just bored on the U-Wing, but then suspicious when he's unable to radio Cassian when the ISB shows up, he steps in, and it's great.
Are you with us?
No.
And he doesn't say anything.
But it only gives us so much hope as we
Backhand
end this
the
episode
shit out
on a
of him.
cliffhanger of the TAC team moving down the corridor back to the elevator. And finally, to episode 12, Clea says,
Yavin. After all of this, what a bitter ending.
in Clea's
Do you
eyes,
like
Yavin
AI
is only the rebel
movies?
cell
I've
that
never
has
seen an
doubted
AI
and scorned
movie,
Luthen
Chelsea.
Rael's intel all these years. But
You mean
Cassian,
like a
with the
movie
fated
made
path
with
hinted to
AI
him
or
by
a
the Force
movie
Healer,
about
knows
AI?
deep down that what they are doing on Yavin will lead to some future, even if it's a future not all of them will get to be part of. I mean, aren't all futures a future that we don't get to be part of? Unless some of you watching are like angels. Gariel hears Melshi walking out, and notice how he and his men point their guns down so Melshi wouldn't see their lights on the wall at first. I like that it is Melshi leading the three and being the one to be spotted, because Clea is the one face these three ISB wouldn't immediately recognize, so they corner them inside of the apartment. But Cassian says to leave the door open just because he might have the chance to get the drop on them as they round the corner. K2SO takes out the two ISB guys in front of the building, which gives us a little win because our hopes are about to be dashed. Gariel tosses in a stun grenade, which we see as a blinding flash of white that leaves Cassian afterwards in a blinding white haze.
And it had
But
like
since
a
Melshi
pulse
was
to
behind
it.
the others, the stun wears off faster for him, and he can start blasting through the doorway as the ISB enter. K2SO gets to floor 27 and grabs Hirt by the neck, leading to one of the most devastating deaths I've seen in Star Wars, as
That
K2SO
shit was
puppets
awesome.
Hirt as a human shield to take Gariel's blaster fire. Even though K2SO's metal shell is durable enough to resist most blaster fire, it's just a humiliation, really. What Darth Vader does to the Tantive 4 crew at the end of Rogue One, K2SO does to this ISB TAC team.
Cassian, I've cleared a path.
So they get out of there just as Partagaz
He's like,
is
"You're not
back
gonna
up
say
arrives."
thank you?"
Like
That
Dedra
shit
in
was
her
hella funny.
need to be right. Partagaz's obsession with trying to eradicate the rebel disease digs his own grave. Saw Gerrera holocalls with Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. He's now in his fully armored look as we saw him on Jedha in Rogue One, and his projection is misaligned so that his eye line is over their heads. But they don't have time for such trivial details. Mon is also now in her robes and simpler haircut that she had in Rogue One, and of course when we later saw her in Return of the Jedi, because she now of course no longer has access to her Chandrillan design team.
I'm so excited to watch
Now, we
this
did see
movie.
Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera tear into each other in a similar call on Yavin 4 in the Rebels Season 4 premiere, but that would have been before this moment when Mon and Erskine first arrived to the base. Mon blames Saw for picking off Imperial transports on Jedha, considering him a terrorist problematic to the Rebel cause. They actually speak of him this way in Rogue One.
Yes, but Saw Gerrera is an extremist. He's been fighting on his own since he broke with the rebellion. His militancy has caused the Alliance a great many problems.
Saw blames Mon for sending him meddling squealers, suggesting that the partisan who embedded himself as the valet to that Moff who was captured, who squealed the details that led Dedra to Luthen, was someone Mon sent Saw Gerrera. And the reason paranoid Saw feels that he can trust his own info is that he uses Borgullet to sap the truth out of people. Draven meets with, hey, Admiral Raddus. Raddus is a Mon Calamari admiral whose flagship leads the fleet in the Battle of Scarif. He says,
You're lucky Merrick's away. He'd go shoot it down himself.
General Antok Merrick, played by Ben Daniels in Rogue One, is the Blue Squadron leader who kicks some ass in Battle of Scarif in Rogue One, taking out a TIE Striker in a memorable moment. But alas, Merrick and all of the Blue Squadron are killed in the Battle of Scarif when the Death Star wipes out the base. So instead, two Gold Squadron X-Wings escort Cassian's U-Wing to the base, and Draven leads a TAC team to greet them on the strip. We follow Draven and Cassian in a handheld shot into the room with the Rebel leadership, including Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, Admiral Raddus, as well as Jonathan Eris returning from Rogue One as Senator Noor Jebel from the planet Uiter. He serves as a cranky Minister of Finance for the rebellion. Also, Sharon Duncan Brewster returns as Senator Tenra Pamlo, who serves as Minister of Education. She's from the planet Taurus, which is the opening planet in Knights of the Old Republic. Bale says that these senators already knew that Palpatine's energy project was a cover for some weapon, since they had voted to fund it. But as Mon points out that there was no oversight or inspections, they don't know what kind of weapon it was or what the details are. Now they have have the context from Cassian via Clea, via Luthen, via Lana Young, via whoever accidentally forwarded this email to Dedra Miro. Kyber mining on Jedha, Calkite mining on Gorman, Galen Erso tinkering with all of this on Eadu. But the issue is they don't even believe that Luthen Rael is actually dead, because to them he's always been kind of an untrustworthy ghost. Cassian says that the last time he talked to Luthen was a year ago, which these senators scoff at, but Cassian looks right at Bail Organa when he says this.
When he had me rescue Senator Mothma from the Senate.
Duly noted.
Cassian is hinting to the fact that Bail Organa's extraction team was and had Luthen and his mole not discovered that, and had Luthen not arranged for an alternative extraction plan, Mon Mothma would be dead and would not have been able to provide the political shielding for these other 3 senators to get out of the Senate. So we see how this final half hour of Andor is not dedicated to some huge battle, because we're gonna get that in Rogue One, but rather to a heated debate over the life and times of Luthen Rael, whose real name, Lear, they don't even know. Is Bail Organa correct that Luthen burned too much and relied on such doubt, such deception, such paranoia that these rebels in his wake now cannot trust each other? Or did Luthen really spark countless embers filling the night sky, too small for them to see right now, but surely enough, burning and burning until the entire sky will look like the Eye of Aldhani? Cassian, for now, is silenced and grounded, but he does ask.
Requesting permission to visit the infirmary.
Permission granted.
Mon backs him before anyone else can reply, because she knows this all depends on Clea's health and testimony. Draven tells Cassian that Saw's contact, Tivik, sent 3 urgent messages from Kafrene. So that tells us that Bodhi Rook, the Imperial pilot played by Riz Ahmed, has already defected and told Tivik that the Imperial weapon is, quote, a planet killer. That, plus Tivik confirming the name of Galen Erso, are the crucial pieces of secondary information that the rebellion will need to believe Luthen and Clea's story to be true. Like, if they only had one of these sources, they wouldn't have had enough to go on. In order to verify something is true, it has to come from 2 independent sources. Vel and Cassian toast fallen rebels.
Gorn, Nemik, Taramin,
Cinta,
the Gormans, Ferrex, your mother.
Gorn, Nemik, Taramin, and Cinta, along with Cassian and Vel, were part of the Aldhani heist, the first 4 being dead now. Vel leaves out Arvel Skeen, Eben Moss Bachrach's character, because we learned at the end of that arc that he was betraying them. Vel also cites Marva, whose speech and funeral march lives on in the Ferrex Anvil Gong every 3 episodes. I would have loved if they had remembered Brasso, whose sacrifice on Mina Rao meant Bix had a safe haven to go back to, but I guess there was no way for Cassian to know in this moment where Bix went, and maybe Vel doesn't bring up Brasso because it would remind Cassian of Mina Rao and think about Bix too much, and maybe go back to visit her before embarking on these critical rebel missions. And maybe that's why Vel later tells Cassian, check in with Bix, but like sometime later. Vel also mentions the Donnies, and they clink cups on Aldhani.
I've heard people claim they were there when it happened.
I'd kill anyone I heard say that.
Oh shit. So in Skeleton Crew, which is like 10 to 15 years in the future after this, SM-33 painted a very grim picture of the planet Aldhani.
Aldhani? It's a sulfurous bog world.
So Aldhani was not a sulfurous bog world in 5 BBY, so it sounds like as punishment for the Aldhani heist, the Empire bombed Aldhani with like some kind of chemical weapons, or just did something else to terraform it into a sulfurous bog, making it impossible for any pilgriming Donnies to see the Eye of Aldhani ever again. This is awful. And with this reminder of Aldhani, we hear Alex Lothar's voice returning as Nemik, reading from his inspirational manifesto from season 1.
Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. Remember that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere.
And we realize that this is not being listened to by any particular rebel in this moment, but by Major Leo Partagaz, as this particular part combats his rebel disease philosophy with much more eloquent phrasing.
The Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks. It leaks. Authority is brittle.
Partagaz feels shaken, seen by this. And on the words, it breaks, it leaks, you can almost see Partagaz breaking and leaking tears. He indicates with regret that this recording is now making its way across airwaves.
Just keeps spreading, doesn't it?
Yes, it's now public, like Ezra Bridger's big speech on the radio in season 1, or Mon Mothma's speeches upon her departure from the Senate. This is yet another inspirational piece of audio that is causing the fire to spread. So this Imperial healthcare provider is realizing he cannot stop the spread of what he called a disease. And I think somewhere deep down he realizes, wait, What if it's spreading because it's not a disease, but it's white blood cells trying to cure the disease, and I'm the disease, I'm the rot? So he asks Legret,
What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's like he respects the game of his rival philosopher, and he finds it curious that its power is really in the fact that it comes from an anonymous source. Legret gives Partagaz a respectful moment alone, and Legret seems to know what's going to happen based on him waving back the stormtroopers after they hear the shot. Partagaz goes out in a similar fashion as Warden Norton in The Shawshank Redemption, recognizing he's been bested and refusing to become a prisoner in his own cage. Vel sees enough from Clea's despondent state, realizing that she never would have left Coruscant to Yavin unless it was over real intel. And from that, Mon believes it, and she and Draven give Cassian the green light to meet Tivik on Kafrene. So we see how Tony Gilroy structured all of this to be a victory earned by 100 different contributions of ordinary individuals, each committing brave acts, each following their hearts, trusting each other, even leaving their peaceful lives behind. Pretty much every character we've seen on this show fighting the good fight, even that Sinar fleet tech who had a crush on Cassian. She was as important as everyone else. It wasn't luck that tipped things their way. It was a gradual fire that they all fueled in different ways. Cassian dreams about his sister Carrie, the sister from Kinari whom Cassian sought, that really got him into this rebel cause. We get the sense that he never stopped dreaming of her.
Ever sleep well?
No.
Or maybe with his death coming days away, he'll soon be reunited with her. K2SO wakes him up.
Waking up humans is always confusing.
I love this. I kind of see it as a nod to Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep, the source material Blade Runner, and just this idea that droids like K2SO do not dream. They don't understand the concept of dreams, and they cannot process why humans are startled when they wake up as they return to their waking reality and are haunted by something. So Bail Organa tells Cassian to report to Draven for his orders on Kafrene, and he adds,
May the Force be with you, Captain.
I may be wrong, but I think this is the first time we hear May the Force be with you on the Andor series. And it comes right as Cassian will be thrust into the events of that Star Wars film. Like many a great series finale, we end with just the perfect montage. Cassian loads his A280 CFE heavy blaster pistol in his holster and pops on the jacket, giving himself the look he's gonna have at the start of Rogue One and the weapon he's gonna use to kill Tivik after getting that information. He also waters his plants because Marvo raised him right. Melshi leads drills, followed by Pow, the Drabatan rebel, who also joins the Rogue One crew to Scarif in the film. And one of the shots we see is Mon Mothma's husband, Perrin Clortha, now being driven with Runai passed out drunk on his shoulder. Whoa. So Runai was the wife of Davos Skolden. We had a wife swap here, and something happened. I want to know the tea. I'm wondering if Perrin might have cleared his name from his association with the disgraced Senator Mon Mothma by blaming Davos Skolden as the source of Mon Mothma's rebel funding, which Davo technically was, because they never would have found Take Holma after whatever Cinta did to him. So when the Empire arrested Davo, that would have left Runai, who we know has taken shots at weddings for the Taken.
What's
so
up, girl?
Just kind of this interesting marriage where he has to play the game with the two of them just drinking themselves to the grave. But by far, the most devastating moment of this montage, Dedra Miro imprisoned on Narkina 5. Those are the same prisoner uniforms that Kino Loy and Cassian and Melshi had to wear. Holy shit! And it's a women's prison by the look of her cellmate. And perhaps the saddest part of this is that after the breakout, Narkina would have locked it down to prevent any future breakouts. And remember, the Narkina 5 prison builds pieces used in the hull of the Death Star. And even after this Death Star is completed, we know the Empire is going to get right back to work on another Death Star. So really, there's no way out. Cassian passes the Force Healer, who gives him a kind of Michael Caine and Dark Knight Rises nod. She knows the path he's walking will lead to his destined death, but she seems to be finding some healing in the fact that his path is so clear-eyed. The table's being set for Rogue One as we see Saw Gerrera gazing out from his partisan hideout on Jeddah to see the plateau with the Star Destroyer hovering overhead. Krennic observes the Death Star with an open section awaiting the focus dish to be lowered into place, and we'll see that focus dish lowered into place in the opening act of Rogue One, and I kind of like how those two shots link together that way.
Awesome.
So is grateful to now have a flight plan.
It's so much easier when I know what we're doing.
I see this as a meta line by Tony Gilroy, who wrote this series, that he knew how the series would end, so he was able to just write his way up to it. But, you know, based on how dense the storytelling and characterization have been on the series, I doubt it was easy, but he at least didn't have to worry about the ending problem that plagues many screenwriters. We end the series back on Mina Rao as B2EMO plays like a doggy in the yard, racing a droid friend.
You could go again.
again.
And we see Bix walking out into the wheat stalks, holding
Immediately
a
knowing
baby,
she's holding a
Cassian's
baby.
child. The true reason she left Cassian, she was pregnant, and she knew
Baby
that if he knew he had
Andor.
a child on the way, he never would have made the necessary sacrifices to
Ever.
lead the rebellion to victory. And again, if Brasso hadn't taken the step of lunging at that local Mina Rao farmer who housed them, the Empire would have known those farmers colluded with the rebels and probably burned their farm. So because Brasso made that sacrifice, these farmers were left alone, and now Bix has a safe community to raise Cassian's child in. As Bix looks at the sunrise and enjoys the warmth on her face, finally at peace, she doesn't seem to be waiting for Cassian, you know, like Elizabeth Turner, waiting for Will Turner to show up every 10 years, but rather, she's just at peace. I like to assume this was after the Battle of Yavin, and she knows what Cassian's sacrifice meant. She's literally creating what Luthen said is the ultimate sacrifice of every true rebel.
I burned my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see.
And that is what Cassian Andor did. And part of that sunrise is a child he'll never know existed. And this baby is not Poe Dameron. It's not. Stop it. Poe Dameron's parents were Kes Dameron and Shara Bey. No freaking way Tony Gilroy would have wanted us to take that away from this moment. What we are meant to take away is the sunrise that Bix sees here is meant to recall the sunset Cassian sees on the beach with Jyn Erso as the wave of destruction would come for them. Diego Luna said Cassian Andor intentionally left his eyes open for those final seconds. And now I feel like in that moment, he could be gazing out at that horizon, looking for Bix, looking for his sister, looking for Marva, looking for any future descendants, and finding all of them. Also,
why the fuck is that so sad?
Credits, which you should have after a suite of Andor music, the music shifts into John Williams' Star Wars main theme.
Hell yeah.
So,
I'm devastated they canceled
Andor.
Andor.
We know
Just
on the
that it
other
was
side of
getting
this
interesting.
sacrifice
Oh no,
is
it's
a young
not
pilot
canceled.
from Tatooine joining the Red Squadron on a daring trench
They
run.
ended it.
And that completes our coverage of Andor.
They ended the show, or they ended it purposefully. Oh yeah, baby. And now it is time for us to do our watch party and review for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I am so hyped to check this out, Joe. I am so hyped to check this out, especially with everything that we know now, giving so much more context to this already amazing movie. Okay? This already amazing movie. But before we dive into it, I just got one thing to say. I'm gonna go hit the head real quick, and then we will come back and we will get it cracking. All right. So if you ain't got your snacks already, if you ain't got nothing to munch on, it's time for you to go get something to crunch on. All right. And if you ain't got nothing, I got just the thing for you.
Hi, my name is Dominique Pruitt, and I started Don's Bon Gourmet Popcorn LLC in the summer of 2021 to introduce delicious and unique flavored popcorn not found anywhere else in the world. Why, you ask? Because I make it in my home with love, just for you. We offer over 10 flavors and are continuously creating new flavors that can be customized to any color or taste for your next event, party, or fundraiser. So go find yourself to our website and find a bombastic flavor of popcorn at donsbombgourmetpopcorn.com, or you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Don's Bomb Gourmet Popcorn.
chat stream. And now it is time to jump in to our Rogue One watch party and review. I am so hyped to get into this, chat. It's about to be a good time indeed. Yo, what's up, Mike Beasley? How you doing today, G? Critic looks 10 years younger in Rogue One, even though it's only been a couple of days. Must be some crazy Imperial Bacta vitamins. Yo, that's hella funny. I would like to know more about Bacta, because I feel like some people have access to it and some people don't. I feel like it might actually be a crazy hard thing to have access to. And maybe the fact that Boba Fett just had a Bacta tank should be a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's not a thing that people just have, like, in their house. You know? Like, think of it of, like, just having, like, even just an IV in your house. Like, that's not something that a normal person has. Interesting to think about. All right. I'm excited to check out Rogue One. I have not watched this movie in years. This came out in 2016. Damn. Whoa. That's insane, chat. That's insane. All right, on 3, we're gonna press play and enjoy this movie together. I am so excited to check it out. I hope you guys are too. Drop all your thoughts, theories, all your opinions about this movie and everything else in between, because we are about to dive right in, and I can't wait. So, if you guys make sure you have your Disney Pluses up and all that good stuff, and on 3, we are going to press play and enjoy this movie together. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh, yeah. Let's turn that on. Let's get these subtitles up here. Okay, subtitles are on as well. Oh, no scroll. Really? Interesting. I didn't know that. It's wild. I am so excited to finish Andor's story, bro. Like, after watching that movie, watching this now, it's just, let's get it, man. Got a little cosmic brownie. Uh-oh. Cosmic brownies. Was bruh and Harry Potter at the same time? Or am I thinking of someone else? Do we have a year for the scene? No, actually, we do not have a year for the scene. That's such a good point. If we get something years later, then that will really let us know what's going on. Yo, what's up with it, Gregory? How you doing today? Hope you're having a good one. I remember in the theater, I was like, damn, that cape is moving. Dumb as hell. Damn. Find it. Damn. Yeah, it is crazy, Marisu. I agree. Damn. Let's go, bruh. What a way. Let's see. Do we get years later or something? Nope. Nope. No time. We just know she's older. She in prison now? I literally have not seen this movie in years, so I will be surprised about things. Just wanted to get that out the way. This is like Piccolo and Gohan, my child now. Oh, yeah. Come on, my child, for real. So dope seeing him, like, get ready in Andor and then seeing him here in the same clothes. Like, that is actually pretty cool. I was in shock in the theater when I saw him shoot that man like that. I was like, oh my god! Thank you. I don't think I have a Star Wars popcorn tin. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh snap. Yeah, for real. I had no idea, Marisu, like for real. Oh. Rebel Alliance headquarters. It's mine. And there's just so much more world building since the last time I watched this movie as well. I hadn't watched like Rebels, none of that stuff yet. So this is so dope. Uh-oh. He's wearing the same thing. Yes, Marisu, I was thinking the same exact thing. I was literally about you. You're reading my mind because I was about to say, how do they even find her though? No lie, I'm pretty I'm not even gonna say what I was about to say. No, I am. I think the ship taking off in the Andor show, high key looks better than what we just saw in the movie. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like the technological advances that there have been since this movie is pretty insane when you think about how it just looked on the show versus what we just saw. Oh shit, here this dude go. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Crazy to know that bro is sitting there blowing rhodium or radium, whatever the hell it's called. Look at that. Right where we left off. Mm. Whoa. Yo, deadass bro looks like Polar Express. Bro was looking like Snoke. He was best friends with Christopher Lee in real life? Oh, shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. Damn, what the hell? For college, we will know the truth. Bro is crazy as hell. Hey. Keep moving. Oh, damn. Yo. Uh-oh. Oh. Bruh. They're not playing at all. Oh. Damn. Oh, triple damn. Quadruple damn. Yo, K2 got a hella sass. K2 Sasso. Where the hell did he come from? The wheel weaves as the wheel wills. He's blind. Is he deaf? Is crazy response. Oh. Oh, I see what you did there, Marisu. Oh, face shot. Bro, sitting on the nigga's dead body. Bro's literally sitting on the corpse of one. That could not be a good sign. Gotta go check on a tornado watch. Yo. Bro is always acting his ass off. I love Forrest Whitaker, yo. Ah, shit. Bro be tweaking. Huh? What? No. I said that like 3 hours ago. Jen. Damn. That was beautiful. Look at that shit. Bro, I love how OG it looks still too. Like, fire! The fact that they are able to turn that shit up or down to destroy an entire planet or just a little city is something that I don't think I ever realized or remembered. Marisu, if you're here, I'm interested on your take with this being like tell versus show or show don't tell. You know what I mean? Like, I never understand the balance of that dynamic. I was just talking to you, Marisu. It covered the moon. I can't believe that the Death Star is from the Wheel of Time. Oh! Damn, yo. Look at that. Literally beautiful. Ichuta. Oh! Yeah, this explosion is amazing. Bro, it's Stevie Wonder blind. His brothers threw that shit at him and he knew he was gonna catch it. Woo-hoo! Save the rebellion! Save the dream! Oh my god. Oh! 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 They're psychotic, bro. Imagine seeing this from like the POV of like someone on the ship, and then they go back to their room, and then like they just puke. You know what I mean? You know they have those types of moments in movies where the bad guy's like, "Bro, this is too far." Badass. What a way for that character to go out, bro. I need to know, where does the Last Jedi fall within this, actually? Because Saw Gerrera is in the Fallen Jedi, the Jedi Fallen Order. There you go. Saw died as he lived on drugs. Facts. I've always disliked the planetary explosions in films. Things that big simply can't explode that fast, no matter how, no matter what you hit it with. Damn. Interesting. That's crazy. Tarkin's thinking he can squash entire continents by parking the Death Star there. That's true. Just the whole city. Oh. Damn. Damn. Bam. Look at that shit. Edu Imperial Kyber Refinery. Bruh, crazy. Bodhi means awakened in Buddhism. That's not an accident for the pilot's name. Yeah, facts. That's true. Blind bruh is not with it. Or he knows something is up. Damn. The force moves darkly around one who's about to kill. What? Yo, the levels of lore there is just insane. It's like the taint of darkness. That being the way he asks him to come with him is awesome. Bruh, K2 is on demon time. I don't get assassinating Galen at this point. The weapon is practically finished. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, they don't know that though. The weapon is finished. But they don't know any of that. Oh shit! He still killed him and then bitch slapped him. Crazy. Oh. This shit is actually so dope. Holy shit, this is awesome. Let's go. Bro, I need that Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie that's in the style of like Top Gun. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it's basically just a Top Gun Star Wars movie. I think the creator of Top Gun is behind it as well. That is gonna be so dope. Yeah. Damn. I have so much to tell you and then dies. That's crazy. Damn. Brother! This movie is magnificent, bruh. And I love how Cassian immediately knows how to do everything. He called her Yuri. He said you were shocked twice. Yo! Being able to see. Yo, being able to see those pieces come together. Damn. Damn. Wow. Bruh. Whoa. That one moment brought so much, like, wow. That is crazy how much weight was in those words. It's like he said, since I was 6 years old, and then I had like a montage of Andor flash through my head. That was insane. That was awesome. That was so cool. Yo, I've been having to stretch my legs a lot lately. I gotta get in the gym. Oh shit. How many times have we seen like Vader's like get his helmet put on? The fact that bro really pulled up to tell is insane. And thought it was gonna go for him. Let's go. R.I.P. James Earl Jones. I think this is the first time I've heard bro's voice since he passed. Oh, well, no, because I watched the Star Wars episode 3. It's kind of wild to think about how Anakin and Vader's and fluctuations of the voices and stuff, everything is like really similar. I wonder if Hayden Christensen studied James Earl Jones' voice cadence when practicing for the role. Just shut your ass up, buddy. He dropped his knees quick. Be careful not to choke on your aspirations. As he force chokes his. Tax Vader. Tax that Sith. I guess that was a dad joke. I wonder if Vader's. I wonder if Vader's jokes got better after he had Luke and Leia. He was just like. And she start spitting. Bro, that was Ishmael. Yo, that's Ishi. That's oh man. Anything not nailed down is crazy. Damn. Am I crazy for saying what I'm about to say? There's a Star Wars walk. I don't know if anyone understands what I'm saying, but there is a Star Wars walk. Like, there's a Star Wars walk, unequivocally. Yeah, bro's name is Ferris? Rogue One pulling away. He's talking about Obi-Wan. That's so cool. And then he's talking about his daughter. I must return to my. Come on, Mice. Scarif, Imperial City, Imperial Security Complex, or something like that. It's a Kyber crystal. Damn, this shit is beautiful. Damn. Literally just taking side characters and giving them entire backstories and shit too. Like, I don't think we've seen his boy say one word yet. Him. Or die. Melshi! Well, about that. I don't know if there are off hours for them. I think they just eat, sleep, and breathe Imperial. You know what I mean? Literally, though. Like, when they eat, they're eating in barracks. When they go to sleep, they're sleeping in, barracks. They wake up, they work. Like, they're basically soldiers on duty at all times, you know? Ain't no off hours. Oh. Oh. Was not prepared for that. What's up with it, Gene? How you doing? Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh. Oh, ha, ha. The way everybody was just standing, I would have been pissed the hell off too. I mean, what the shit is that? Battle stations. Just airing them out, laying them down. Uh-oh. Dead. Bruh's dead. Holy. Yo. This is so freaking cool, bro. Let's go. Yo, so smart. The way they're playing this shit, I love it. Did he say at? It sounded like he said, Carabast at. Oh, they pulled the hell up. It's going down. Yo. Oh, damn. Oh. Your behavior is continuously unexpected. I love this movie, yo. This is awesome. This is such a dope way to end like, this is so cool. Oh, let's go. This is, I don't know how many other times I can say this is awesome. I love this shit. Let's go. Yo, they are clearing shit out. Let's go. Damn. Let's go. Bro, holy shit. Damn. Bergetta, bruh. Damn. You know what? No lie. When did Guardians of the Galaxy 1 come out? Guardians of the Galaxy came out before this. Whoa. I'm not gonna lie. Hell yeah. Oh man. Damn. Oh my god. Jesus. Bruh. Talk about a all or nothing push. Damn. Damn. Oh. Jeez, bro. The scale is insane. No, you're not going anywhere. Oh! Plot armor. I love this. I love this shit, bro. I love the force. I love the wheels. Bro. I love the one power. It's just, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Hell yeah. I love the way they're like, what the f? And they're like, you can even see the way that they're reacting. Shrewd is a luck bender? Yo, literally. The way bro's body is like low-key sizzling is crazy. And I love the way he says it backwards from how he said it. Like, damn, bro. I love it, bro. This is amazing. Oh, he's dead. Damn, bro. Brother. Yo. God damn. Damn. Oh! Holy. Oh. Woo! Kick him off the kick him off the shit. Oh, baby. Damn. Damn. Bruh. Yo, what's up with the Natanshu? How you doing? Oh, oh. Damn. Damn, brother. Yo. Insane. Insane, bruh. Here we go, chat. Bruh, the sheer fear that they must have all been feeling at that moment. Yo! 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 That shit is so dope! Bro, the first time I saw this, I legit thought he was gonna stop the spaceship and pull it back to him. I was like, ah. Yeah! That was awesome, bro. Wow. That was freaking awesome, bro. That was such a good movie. Yo, I'm so pleased. Like, Rogue One leading into, Andor leading into that. Wow. And then that leading into the original trilogy, like, come on, brother. I have to continue at this point. Like, I have to continue watching the movies now because, like, it's only right. Because that was fantastic. I have not watched Rogue One since, like, it initially came out in theaters, I think, to be honest with you. So, being able to see it again here and knowing everything that we know about this universe now that we did not know at the time of watching, even just me of not having watched Clone Wars when that initially came out, or Rebels if that was on at the time, not I hadn't seen like any of those other projects like that, so to get even the background on seeing how Saw Gerrera as a character like continues, you know what I mean? Like that is so freaking dope, bro. Like it is so dope. I'm not gonna lie. Like it is so dope to see the way that all of these stories of these different characters continue and end. It has me hyped. I definitely need something with Cal Kestis, like especially because we know he has a part of Saw Gerrera's story as well. It's crazy to know that Saw Gerrera was just meeting all these different people and doing all these different things over the course of his life. I'm so hyped, bro. Like that movie was freaking so dope. Like, holy, bro, that was a spectacle. Like, that was an event. That movie was awesome. I can't wait for them to re-release this one in theaters. I will be in there. Like, immediately I will be in there. Because this movie is great. But let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section down below. Do you like Andor? Do you not like Andor? Are you, what's up? What's up? How you feeling about it? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Bam. That was crazy, bro. So, A New Hope next week? Yo, what's up in the ledge? How you doing, Geek? I appreciate you for tuning in with me today, bro. Maybe, bro. I mean, just maybe. We might have to just watch the rest of the movies, bro. I think that might be the strategy, to just keep watching these movies, because damn, like, this was awesome. So to see that this goes into, like, they can just continue to go one to another like this as well. So, hell yeah, bro. We might have to. We might have to pull up and watch A New Hope next week. I'm not going to lie to you, because damn. This might be, I really think that Rogue One is the best movie. Like it is fantastic, bro. Like this movie is so damn good. Like it's look, Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie. Exactly. Like I really agree. It is fantastic. Like damn. That was fantastic, bro. Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie. Move over Empire Strikes Back and take second place. Yo, bro, I gotta watch all those movies again so I can really get a good understanding of the universe. I mean, literally, I can't wait. I'm so excited to just dive headfirst into the Star Wars lore even more, because damn, brother. Like, damn, brother, this movie, Andor, I mean, again, I started watching from Phantom Menace to get ready for episode 3 when it re-released in theaters. So having gone through like watching Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith, and now going into Rogue One, like bruh, yeah, we might have to. I think we might have to continue, bro. Because holy hell. Holy hell. Like, that got me so hyped. That movie was so good. And the way that there's just so much loss occurring in it is heartbreaking, for one. But it's also like, it's just so, bruh. Yeah. They did a very, very good job. I love it. I love it, yo. Where's the chronological order? Okay, in timeline order. There we go. Okay, so the Bad Batch happens before all of this stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, I guess Obi-Wan Kenobi does happen before this as well. That's crazy. Rogue One, and then we go straight into... Oh, bro, and then I haven't rewatched The Mandalorian either. Yeah, I'm actually hyped. It's time for a Star Wars rewatch completely. For real, because what? Going from Rogue One to New Hope to Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, then the entire Mandalorian series. Boba Fett. Ahsoka. Yes, bro. Like, I'm ready. Actually, that sounds so dope. Yeah, I can't wait to watch New Hope. We might be back here next week to watch A New Hope, yo. Because I'm pretty pumped. I didn't know that. I didn't know they had this timeline order here on it. On Disney Plus. I've watched everything, though. That's what I can say. Is like, I've watched everything. Oh, I haven't finished the new season of Bad Batch, though. The Empire, yeah, I need to watch these though. These are the next ones that we'll put in the docket. Because hell yeah. Did you know Cassian's real name was Emmanuel Bothans? Many Bothans died for the Death Star plans. What? They re-released the theatrical cut of A New Hope earlier this year, but you had to be in Britain to see it. Oh, wow. I think I can't remember what the re-release was that just came out for... What movie was that? I think it was A New Hope that I went and saw. I can't remember. Damn. For people who complained Andor was slow, it's because loss is so much more painful when you have time to dwell on it. That's very true. That's very true. I mean, look at how powerful... I really think that this movie was way more impactful to me watching it again with all of this other... I mean, of course it would be, right? Because there's so much more context to what's going on within what's here now. Like, so much. So... Yeah. Yeah, I'm hyped, bro. If you like Andor Rogue One, I recommend reading Reign of the Empire, The Mask of Fear. It follows Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, and Bail Organa. It starts during the Emperor Palpatine's speech in Episode 3. Oh! That's awesome. That's pretty dope. Andor and Rogue One, what a whole other kind of Star Wars. It started off with less fanfare but picked up momentum. Revenge of the Sith was released this year. Yeah, I agree, Matthew. I agree with that, bro. What's up with it, by the way? Welcome into the chat. Hope you're having a good day. Especially in the second season during this time. What a timely and timeless arc. This is how rebellions form against tyranny or tyranny. I agree, yo. I definitely agree with that. Everything you just said, you're spitting. You came into the chat spitting, brother, and I definitely agree. It's insane to see how much of a grip the Empire had on everyone in every way, shape, and form. Because it's just brutal to see the way that everyone was shaped from what was going on, like from the events that were, affecting them straight up. It's crazy to see, again, like I said, Saw Gerrera go from who we see him as when he's a kid, when Anakin and Ahsoka first meet him, to how he ends up being here when he dies, bro. And it's like he has his entire own sect of the rebellion that he's built up to do all this other things. And it's just like, damn, bro, just holy. I'm hooked. I am hooked on phonics right now because this shit is magnificent. I think the book came out in February of this year. Oh, let me add it to my TBR, buddy. Where's my Goodreads? There we go. Oh, I gotta do the most. I don't remember my stuff. Damn. Yeah, I gotta add that to my Goodreads for sure, though, because I want to read more Star Wars. I said this before. I really want to get deeper into the lore of Star Wars. So being able to, even read novels, comics, I want to get into it all, yo, because I know there is so much, and I am interested in every ounce. There we go. Sorry about that. But yeah, I want to get deeper into Star Wars. I want to get deeper into all the lore. DC, Star Wars. I'm already locked in with the Marvel stuff. What is that? What is it called? Let's see. If you like Andor Rogue One, oh, Reign of the Empire. The Mask of Fear. Yep. By Alexander Feed. All right, I got it added to the TBR. Yo, shout out to Goodreads, Letterboxd, TV Time, and Serialized. I think those are some of the best apps to take note of all the things. There's another one that has it for music. I know you guys don't know what I'm talking about yet. I think it's called Music Box, but all of those apps are great ways to review, to put stuff on your queue, like your to be read or your to be watched list. It's amazing, yo. So if you guys aren't using the Goodreads, if you're an avid reader, download Goodreads, use it to your fullest extent so you can review the books that you've already read, and so you can put some other books that you want to read on your list. If you are watching a lot of shows, definitely tap in with Serialized. That will keep track of all the shows that you watch. Letterboxd will keep track of all the movies that you watch. And then TV Time keeps track of both TV shows and movies. So I like TV Time for that reason, because I can find a little bit of everything on TV Time. And that's where I put the bulk of my stuff and then put it on other things after that. So TV Time is awesome. Goodreads is awesome, and then Music Board is also awesome if you guys like to review and categorize your music, because I know some people do. Just a couple little plugs right there, because those are some dope apps that I have access to and I use often. I hear book 2 follows Luthen, Clea, and Lonnie. What? That would be crazy, Ledger. That sounds so cool. I gotta dive into that. And yet the Empire was just a flash in the pan time-wise. Yeah, that's very true. I always said Luthen was that missing link between Saw and Bail, Mon Mothma, that we didn't know we needed. He really is, because you need the extremist. There were no extremists to that point. You know, everyone was very tame. And there's no way you can win a rebellion on being that tame like that. It's just not possible. So it is good to know that there's other crazy shit going on that we're just not akin to, you know? Or we weren't, at least. The Nazis burned themselves out pretty fast too, so the parallel is probably intended. Yeah, that's very true. But also, isn't it a pretty long time as well? I mean, think about it. Luke is basically in his like how old is Luke at the beginning of the movies, right? Because throughout that entire time, that's all Empire. From like from Order 66 to the end of, what is that? Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, right? Yeah. Speaking of Clea, the woman who played Clea had just got out of an acting school when she was Cassian Andor. It was her first professional role. There's no way, bruv, because she did a fantastic job. That is amazing. That is amazing. She did amazing for this to be her first professional role. Holy shit, we need to see her more. At one point going into how cool it would be to, how we were at one point going into how cool it would be to have what ifs where Spider-Man can be mentored by different people. I can see the same thing for Luke and the Rebellion. Like, imagine Luke indoctrinated by Saw or Luthen. Whoa. That would actually be so awesome. That's so dope. Holy shit, that would be insane. I would love that. Clea was my breakout favorite character by the end. Oh yeah, by that last episode, it was like Clea just give me a show just about Clea. Like, I hope she got away and didn't die on you know what I mean? Like, damn. I guess they could call that What If the Skywalker Wars. That'd be cool. I definitely have my handy Letterboxd and Goodreads. Hey, tap in with Serialized if you already have those ones. If you watch a lot of shows, Serialized is basically Letterboxd, but just for television shows. And it's SerialZD. I don't think there's an E. I think it's Serialized without the D. Yeah, Serialized without the D. Whoa, Bitcoin hit 107 again. Let's go, baby. App Store. That's what it looks like for all those who care. You can keep track of all of your shows that you watch. I use TV Time myself, but I think Serialized is a little bit more popular. The Empire which Palpatine wanted to last more than 1,000 years was destroyed in 20. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I guess when you put it in that perspective, yeah, he definitely was tripping. But also, in the 20-year span, they destroyed, like, how many planets? And to be completely honest, it went past 20 years because the First Order is also just the Empire. You know what I mean? They just went through a rebranding. So, that's another however long that was. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure the First Order came out, like, pretty soon after everything was going on. Yep, exactly. First Order and Final Order stand exactly. I love the parallel of Anakin training Saw in the Clone Wars to defend his homeworld and Saw becoming one of the dominoes of Darth Vader's fall. Ooh. Yeah, that's actually, yeah. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Luke's canonically 19 in A New Hope just meant 20 years is pretty short for the Empire on the scale of Palpatine was planning. No, you're right in that aspect for sure. Like, it's like, damn. I've been seeing Clea edits on TikTok set to the. Oh, she got away. Also, that moment where she's pushing the old lady in the hover chair, and the old lady is like, "Eh," and Clea is like, "What?" Yeah, I love that too. Because she was definitely like, "Yo, I said nothing," and the old lady was like, "Are you sure?" Like, that's how she gave the look. Like, "Are you sure you didn't say anything?" She was like, "All right, I guess I'll just play along with this." Boom. But yeah, yo, W movie. Can't wait to watch the next one. Definitely gonna have to check that next one out as well. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like the video if you like the video, because it helps out tremendously around these parts. I had such a good time checking out Rogue One, checking out Andor. All of these movies are bangers. I think we're gonna come back next week for A New Hope. I gotta check my calendar and make sure nothing is happening as far as like new shows or anything like that. But if not, then we'll definitely be back for that. Actually, I have my calendar right here, so I can just look at it right now. Yeah, I don't think there's anything going on next Tuesday. Yeah, there's nothing going on next Tuesday, so we're definitely probably going to check that out. We're probably definitely going to check that out. And then starting in June, for all my Wheel of Time people, I'm hoping to bring back Willy Wednesday starting in June. Have that first Willy Wednesday on the 4th, and then start doing book club again after that, or at least talking about the show or something like that, just to kind of bring the vibes back and get cracking and ready. For real. That was a good start, War. Goodness. Such a good transition from Revenge of the Sith to Andor to Rogue One and A New Hope. Yeah, that transition is magnificent. I'm not gonna lie, like, it has me so hyped after just finishing, like, watching that in theaters, seeing Revenge of the Sith in theaters, and then coming home to watch Andor, and then just seeing Vader. Like, bro, it just hits, man. It just hits, and it has me really excited. Like, I feel like I've never watched Star Wars before, and I know I have. You know what I mean? Like, I know I have. Yeah, bro. I need more. I need more of those tones and those vibes. Revenge of the Sith is an awesome movie. When you really watch it, like, as I watched it again, it is an in-game level, like Infinity War in-game level movie. It really is, and it's kind of wild to see that because they go through things so fast. I could have easily watched a 3-hour Revenge of the Sith movie completely, like, because they go through things, they hit a lot of beats, and it feels like in-game in a way where it's like boom, 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 or Infinity War. It feels like both of them. It feels like Infinity War and in-game in one movie. And it's just boom, 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 boom. Like, oh, they're fighting Dooku. They're doing this. They're doing that. Oh, he's dead. Oh shit, this is going on now. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. Oh my god. Like that's how it was watching the movie. It was just like never a chill moment, and I was so ready for that. I kind of wish we got a Sharon Carter show made by Tony Gilroy. Take my heart. I love that. I love that. Imagine a show of her leading S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 60s and hunting down rogue Hydra agents in the 60s. Do you mean Peggy Carter? I think you mean Peggy Carter, because Sharon can't be in the 60s. Sharon is Peggy's niece. Right? Oh, okay. I was like, I would be down for the Sharon Carter one. I've never seen Peggy Carter's show. I heard it's fantastic though. But I would be down for the Sharon Carter one because I really want to know what's going on with her as like being a bad guy now. You know what I mean? That's why I got so excited about that. Or Tony Gilroy doing like a 10 Rings project. That would be freaking dope as hell too. Book 4 has no prologue, but chapter 1 is basically a prologue. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was planning on sending out a message to the Wheel of Time mods, to the Watt mods, to be like, yo, can you guys start at least compiling that book 4 chapter stuff. I'm hoping to do Wheelie Wednesday consistently after book 4, whether there's a book club going on or not, because I really want to dive into that fan base more. I just like how Revenge of the Sith shows the death of the Jedi, Andor showing what it's like without the Jedi Order with a hint of the Force healers. Oh, then Rogue One with more than a hint of the Force with Guardians of the Wills and Kyber, and then A New Hope with the slow rise of the Jedi again. That's true. That's actually so true, bruh. That is actually so true. Wow. Wow, I love that. It is a really beautiful transition. Because it's like, yo, there really was no balance without the Jedi. You know what I mean? Like, that would be so... Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Here's some more Star Wars with Taverin in a galaxy far, far away. Literally. Facts. I agree with that. Or... After the soft reboot, we get a new S.H.I.E.L.D. show made by Tony Gilroy with the tone of Andor. Just super dark espionage show set in the MCU. Bro, don't tempt me with a good time, because that sounds freaking amazing. I would love to see, like, I would love to have something like that happen. Even though I don't think they're going that hard with the soft reboot, I would love for that to be the thing that they do. OXC is basically the new S.H.I.E.L.D. now. But yeah, man, it's been a lovely watch party and review of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I'll see you guys next week at the same time in the same place. Again, make sure you like the video if you like the video, because it helps out so much around here. You can also follow me on social media at Sensei Finito to save the day with all my thoughts, theories, and opinions for whatever particular thing I may be partaking in at that particular time. Or you can follow all the channel on all platforms at Marvel Bros to stay up to date with all the latest nerdy news, movie reviews, and everything else in between. Man, it's been awesome to be here and nerd out about this Star Wars stuff today, because I just love me some Star Wars, bro. I love me some Star Wars. Like I said already, I gotta get me a big book of Star Wars. I got the big book of Marvel. I got the big book of the MCU. I got the big book of DC. And now I gotta get the big book of Star Wars for sure. That's the next one on my list. 100%. So it's been amazing yet again, y'all, and I can't wait for all the new nerdy stuff that we gonna be getting into. With all that being said, I hope each and every one of you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and as I always say, stay awesome, stay nerdy, and don't forget to stay marvelous. Excelsior.
If you guys would like to support Marvel Bros, all you gotta do is visit our website at www.marvelbros.com and buy some merch. Represent the superfan. Or you can join our Patreon to get early access to content, patron-only scoops, giveaways, private Q&As, and those sacred watch parties. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Excelsior.
On today's pop culture news update.